In the first video, we discussed the concept behind this fly. In the second video, we sketched it. Poorly, but we sketched it. In the third video, we went over materials. In this video, we're going to tie it. So welcome to the Streamer Design Series, Episode 4, The Tie. We're going to have to get a little creative here. Oof. That almost ended poorly. So I think I have everything I need to tie this. Why am I nervous? So we're starting with the shank. On the shank, we're doing some saddle hackles. Just skinny ones. We want a lot of movement here. The main reason for the shank. This is the first time I've ever tied this. So I'm gonna come all the way back here. Measure that off. So now to add just a little bit of flash, we're gonna go with some polar flash, taper it a little bit. Just always do this. Just always do this. See, really all that's doing is giving us just a little bit of flash, not a bunch. I don't want super flashy stuff. So we're gonna whip finish this and hit with gel super glue. So I have a 2/0 belly bumper hook in the vise. If you go back to our drawing, we need to put some lead on here. I think we are gonna go ahead and put it here to begin with. This may be the one thing that changes quite a bit over the next several versions of this. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm gonna run it all the way up that. A little bit of super glue. I don't know where my bobbin went. Right in front of my face. So next we got a sparkle minnow brush that basically matches the colors in the flash we're using. I mean, you know, just trying to keep colors right. We may end up covering more of this shank with this in the future, but I think we're just gonna start about right in here. No exact real reason, but I don't think I want to come all the way back here with it. Now I'm gonna brush this out real good. I always go against the grain. It really just kind of opens up those fibers and gets everything obviously crazy, but then you can tame them real easy too. Good start. So for this part of the bucktail, I don't want real flary bucktail. So I want some bucktail from the top, or as close to the top as possible. And I'm not thinking we're gonna need very much here. We just need enough. I'm talking just enough to get us past this hook point. Right. So the whole point in that was to keep these feathers off this hook point. So let's go ahead and articulate this. Hopefully this tail's making more sense now. We have this movement. This is what I wanted. Now we're up to the point where we're gonna start adding some filler to make a body here. And I'm just gonna palmer some marabou. So we've done all this and we still haven't used any of the tieable portion of the hook, which is a good thing. So my first instinct is to go light on this. Ooh. Liking it. So now we're gonna do the wing, but when I palmer marabou on a shank, I always like to add just a little bit more on top of the shank, just to give a little bit of help to the wing that's coming in front of it, just to kind of help things out. Since we're going with like a shad color, I've got some white barred gray marabou that's gonna work perfect. I'm not talking a ton here, just a little bit of an extra boost to the top of the fly. It's looking pretty good. So now we're going to do the wing and a little bit of flash over the wing. And this is where I'm not 100% sure. I am 50-50 on these. The scales and tails is going to give me some more flash already built in. It's also going to be a tiny bit more rigid, so it'll be a stabilizing factor. On the other hand, craft fur is going to give me more movement in the wing, but less stable. I think we need to try them both. I'm already thinking the scales and tails is not going to do what I want it to. See how rigid it is? I think that's the one we need. This is what I did on the knucklehead too. I got stuck right here. I've actually been sitting here for 30 minutes, just kind of looking. But I think after this step, I'm gonna have to put a little bit of marabou here as well, just to kind of help cover and blend things in before the head goes on. So yeah, rolling with the punches. We're not gonna palmer this marabou, we're just gonna lay it on here and like circle wrap it. Kind of take these around the hook a little bit and grab it with a big loop of thread, not really putting any pressure on it, so that way it goes all the way around the hook and then binding it down. So now the head, and we're gonna go fettuccine foam and laser dub. And how I do fettuccine foam is I cut it into like what ends up being quarters, and it's just easier to work with that way. So I'm gonna assume that we're gonna go with the same amount on here as we did the knucklehead and knuckle deep, and that's to start off with 4. So I'm gonna start off with 4 across, side by side. And now some laser dub. And for the last one, I'm just gonna do 3. And whip finish. So now we're gonna trim this out. And I like a sweeping head. Way short in the front, like real short in the front. Tame the laser dub a little bit too. I mean, guys, that's pretty sick. Let's get some eyes on it. So I'm trying to not go too crazy with the eyes, because, you know, but the Dead Meat Custom Madtown eyes, Yeah, I mean, that's what we have to. We have to. So typically what I'll do is let these eyes dry a little bit and then seal them with UV resin and then trim the head just a little bit more. So first things first, one thing that I've noticed, this is legitimately the first time I've ever tied this. The underbody is great. It may need some trimming, but I like the material. We're gonna stick with that material. We're gonna stay there. The marabou I used is too long. It's just too long because it comes way back here. So I'm gonna use shorter marabou. The wing is great. The head's great. I think we need less laser dub. Just a little bit less laser dub. This turned out way better than the knucklehead and knuckle deep did the first time I sat down to tie them. It really did. So the main thing about this is that tail movement. Am I gonna get it? I don't know. We're gonna have to see it wet. But if you had told me that it was gonna turn out this good the first time I sat down to tie it ever, I'd have laughed at you. So I definitely have some tweaks I'm gonna make to it. But after tying it and getting it wet, I'm not 100% sure that my shank that I'm so dead set on is really doing everything that I want it to. I think there's too much material all the way around it. So it's like you have this articulation point, but if it's covered in wet material, it can only move like that. And I think that's what I'm running into. After I got it wet, it definitely needs more bulk in the shoulders. I'm gonna need to figure out something there. Could be a different material, could be just more material. One thing that always kind of pops into my mind to add bulk without adding any weight really at all is Ripple Ice Fiber. And I've done that with the Knucklehead and Knuckle Deep before as well. And it does a really good job of creating bulk while adding flash and everything like that. And it doesn't hold, it's big fibered stuff, so it doesn't hold any water or anything like that. So that may be an option to put underneath the wing. I don't know. We still have some tweaking to do. Yeah, there it is. Still don't have a name for it. Now the next thing that needs to happen is to fix these little tweaks, these little minor things that need a little bit more here and a little bit less there. But this was the best first tie I've ever had. But I dig it. I really, really do.